All right, on today's video, we are back at the range, and today we are going to be doing a first impressions video of the Monstrum 10-40 by 56 first focal plane long range rifle scope. Now, the first thing you're probably asking yourselves, what gun is this sitting in front of me that this scope is on? And I have never had this gun on the channel. I've had this gun for at least 5 or 6 years. It is a Savage MSR-10. It is an AR-10, and it is chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, the reason you guys have never seen this on the channel, I used to go to South Carolina and hog hunt when I had family living down there. I bought this gun just to hunt hogs with, and originally this had an ATN 4K Pro night vision scope on it. Well, if you've been watching the channel, you know back in April, I went down to Dead Zero. I met up with a bunch of other guys from YouTube, and I shot 1,000 yards for the first time. Now, I had never been past 400 yards until I went to Dead Zero. Well, now the problem is I got bit by the long-range bug, and I want to do more long-range shooting. So I reached out to Chris over at Monstrum, told him I had an idea for a video series. I said, I've got this 6.5 Creedmoor. I want to put the new Monstrum G3 10-40 on my 6.5 Creedmoor. And hopefully, for sure, I'll be back to Dead Zero in April. But I'm hoping to go a little sooner. And I want to stretch this gun with this Monstrum scope out to 1,000 yards. So today, we're just going to be doing a first impressions video on this. Now, I'm trying not to make this intro very long, but I wanted to explain what I did with this gun. Now, a couple things I want to go over. I did have this over on the pistol range before I started this video. I did sight this scope in at 25 yards. And it is not meant to be shot at 25 yards. So if you're thinking about buying this scope for like a brush gun or a 200 yards or less hunting rifle, this scope is probably not for you. At 25 yards, I couldn't even adjust the parallax to get a good view of the target. Now we're on the 50-yard rifle range now, and now this is where it's starting to shine. But this scope here, and I am no long-range shooter. I am no expert on this. I'm a beginner, and that's why I'm going to be taking you along on this journey with this gun and this scope. But I can tell you right now, if you're planning on shooting anything 50 yards or less, this optic right here is not going to be for you. So, we're going to shoot here on the 50-yard range. We're going to get it zeroed in. We'll shoot some groups with it at 50, and then we're going to move down to the 100-yard range. We're going to talk about the glass. We're going to talk about the zoom. All that's going to get covered in this video. But we're going to start doing some reload development for this gun. So we're going to be making a lot of videos with the Savage and the Monstrum 10-40 by 56 G3 first focal plane scope. Now, one thing, I got to get the gripe out of the way right off the bat. If you guys look, I'm only about 1/8 of an inch or so on the objective here off the top of the rail. Now, I wish Monstrum would have just sent this with some taller rings, but I wanted to shoot this how it's going to be right out of the box. These are the rings you get in the box. This is what you got. Now, going around on the internet, looking at all the pictures so far of this scope, the majority of them are mounted on AR-10s, and they all look like this. Now, if you had this on, say, a Remington 700 bolt action, a Ruger American, where everything's starting to taper down, this setup's perfect. But for AR-10s, which a lot of people are probably going to be using this optic on, Monstrum just needs to start shipping these out with just a little bit taller set of scope rings. But other than that, so far, I'm loving this optic. I just wanted to get that one complaint out of the way. All right, that's probably the longest intro I've ever shot. Let's start shooting some rounds and have some fun. All right, we're all set up at 50 yards. I got a target down there. Now, I don't have a camera down there rolling yet because we're just going to get this zeroed in at 50 yards. Then we'll shoot a couple groups with the camera down there rolling. We're going to be sighting this in with Hornady Precision Hunter, and this is a 143 grain ELDX bullet. I do reload 6.5 Creedmoor, and I do have some of those reloads out here with me, but we're going to sight it in with this factory ammo, and then we'll move on to my reloads. Now, I don't know how good those reloads are. 6.5 Creedmoor was the second round I reloaded. I started out with 308, then I went to 6.5. I don't know how good those are because I haven't reloaded 6.5 for about 5 years, and like I said, I didn't know anything about reloading back when I started that. So we may end up messing around developing a better round for it. So let's shoot a round at that top right target, and let's see what we got to do as far as getting this zeroed. All right, we're 2 inches high and about 1.5 inches to the right. Let's make an adjustment here. We need to go left. And we need to go down. Yeah, we'll call that good. All right, I'm going to take you guys down there and show you the shots. All right, that was our first shot, our second, and then our third. Then I moved it too far to the left. That was our fourth, and that's our fifth. So we're going to do 2 clicks down and leave it right there. All right, we got a camera down there rolling. We got 3 rounds of the Hornady Precision Hunter loaded up. I'm going to shoot a 3-shot group at that top left target. All right. From what I can see, it looks like we put 3 rounds right in the same hole, but we're a little to the left. From what I could tell looking at the target down there, it looks like we put 2 holes right in the same one. I'll have to go back and watch the footage. All right, this time we're going to shoot a 3-shot group with my reloads. Now, these are the same bullet, 143 grain ELDX, but these are sitting on top of 40.5 grains of H4350. All right, looks like we put it right about the same hole. All right, looks like a pretty good group. All right, here was our group with the Hornady Precision Hunter. All 3 of these rounds are touching. Put 2 right through the same hole, but we were shooting just a little to the left. Now this was a group with my 143 grain ELDX reloads. We got 2 touching right here and 1 right to the left of the bullseye. So we're definitely less than 1 inch group there. And we're at about a 1/2 inch group up above that. All right, guys, we're all set up over here on the 100-yard range. And I like this bench a lot better because I can get in beside my rifle. It's a lot more comfortable. Get better eye relief, the whole 9 yards right here. Now, we got it on 10 power. And at 100 yards, well, that's all you need again. Now, let's turn it up to 25. Okay, and we're going to set our parallax at 100, and we're still got a crystal clear sight picture. I'm going to adjust my diopter just a little bit, and even at 25 power, it's amazing. At 25 power at 100 yards, I won't have any problem seeing those holes from the 6.5 Creedmoor. Now let's turn it up to 30. And now we're starting to get a little bit of what I like to call that fisheye effect. It's not bad. And what you're seeing as far as your dot in the middle of your reticle, it's still very clear. But we are starting to get a little bit of that distortion around the outside. Now, if we go up to 35, we're about the same. And now we'll go all the way up to 40 power and getting just a slight bit of distortion around the outside. Now, let's see if we adjust our diopter, if we can clean that up a little bit, and we can. So we're getting a little bit of that distortion, fisheye effect, whatever you want to call it, cranked all the way up to the 40 power, but it's still very usable. And even my Athlon Helos, which is a lot more expensive scope than what this is, and it's an 8-32 by 56 or 50, I'm not sure. I still get a little bit of that distortion when I've got it cranked all the way up to 32 power. But out to 40 power, this is still 100% usable. And really, really impressed. I know we can't talk about prices on here, but for what this scope costs, it's definitely worth it. So between 20 and 25 seems to be the sweet spot with the clarity on this. And like I said, if you got this turned up to 20, I won't have any problem. I don't even think you would have a problem seeing a 22 caliber bullet hole in that target when you've got it turned to 20 power. Pretty impressive. All right, we're going to be using my reloads to sight this in because as long as these are going to keep shooting good, this is what we're going to stick with. We'll stick with this recipe too. Now, I don't have a camera down there rolling yet. We're just going to sight it in. I should not have to go down there. With the magnification I have on this optic, I should be able to make my adjustments from back here at the bench. So I'm liking that. I think we got a bullseye. Yep. All right. Say we're good. All right, guys, that was the first shot, and that was the second. So we're just going to leave it right there. All right, we got it all sighted in. Camera's down there rolling. Let's shoot a group at the bottom left target. We're still going to use the reloads. All right, now, before we shoot this next group at the bottom right target, let's talk about the illumination. So I got it on 1 right now. It's very overcast out here today. It's been raining all morning, and you cannot see the illumination on 1. Now, if I turn it on to 11, you can see it. It's faint, but it's there. But if you want to shoot this in a low light situation, well, you'll have the illumination for that. But right now, like I said, you can see it, but it's definitely not needed. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that back off. All right, let's shoot a group at the bottom right target. All right, let's get out and check our groups. All right, this was our group on the left. It's a 1-inch group, but I wish it was a little tighter than that. But I'm not shooting good today. I'm shaky, but I'll take that. This was our group on the right. We got 2 in the same hole and 1 right here. So we're still right at about 1 inch on our group. So that's good for me, guys. It's not good for a lot of people, but for me, I'll take it. All right, guys. First impressions of the Monstrum G3 first focal plane 10-40 by 56 rifle scope. I really like this scope. It is all I need for what I'm doing around here, and I don't think it's going to be any problem seeing out to 1,000 yards with this optic. The glass clarity is nice. It does have the lighted reticle. I'll probably never use it, but for guys that are shooting low light, it'll be nice to have. It did fisheye, distort just a little bit when we got up in about that 35 power range, but the reticle is still perfectly usable. The clicks and everything are real audible, tactile, and, you know, everything is easy to adjust. I'm real happy with that also. My only complaints, like I said at the beginning, for the guys that are going to be putting these on AR-10s, which obviously the pictures I'm seeing on Instagram and whatever right now, everybody's putting them on AR-10s. So I just wish they'd get a little bit taller set of scope rings, because this does come with scope caps. And right now, I cannot use the front one with as close as this is to the rail. Now, I can fix it. Obviously, I could put a riser on it or I could change the rings. I'm just stating that this is what it comes with out of the box. So if you're putting this on an AR-10, this is what you're going to deal with. Other than that, it's a great scope. Now, we're going to do a lot more videos on this. I know this was a first impressions video, and it's a very long first impressions video, but I wanted to try to cover everything. As far as the reloads go, I'm probably going to just stick with that recipe, but we do need to bring them back out and run them through the chrono. I've never chronoed that ammo before. I want to see what kind of speeds we're getting, and then I'm going to get with Jamie from the JH586 channel and talk to him a little bit about it, because when I did go to Dead Zero, I did shoot 1,000 yards with Jamie's 6.5 Creedmoor. I just want to try to compare a little bit of his data to my data and make sure we're all good to go. And if we are, I'm just going to stick with that recipe, because like I said, a better shooter with those reloads that I was shooting today, he'd have been able to put holes in holes. I'm not that shooter. Well, we're going to cut this one off. We're going to be doing a lot more videos with this, and it just felt good to get this gun back out. Like I said, I hadn't shot it in 5 or 6 years, and always really liked this rifle. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.